Right now, firefighters in their 12th hour battling a large grass fire in Platte County, and their work is paying off now that fire under control. That fire burned at least 1,300 acres in Platte County. Let me show you where. Just across the Missouri River from Leavenworth, the fire really concentrated near 92 Highway all the way south to 45 Spur. It also at one point spread east near Beverly, Missouri. That fire destroyed at least 2 to 3 buildings. Around 75 firefighters battling the flames all afternoon, and many remain on that scene tonight. We're live in Orick, Missouri tonight, where that EF2 tornado touched down on Saturday. It did a number to at least this house right here that we've been telling you about. But just to give you an indication on an EF2 tornado, the National Weather Service estimates those winds to be 127 miles per hour. Now, this metal here is pretty considerable metal. It's used for the top of a barn or maybe a house. But take a look at what this tornado did. Just wrapped it right around this tree. This is a closed dryer lint tray. Now, firefighters say you need to clean the lint out of this tray every single time you do a load of laundry in the dryer. Easy enough, right? This is part of a dryer duct system. Often this is concealed, snaking through ceilings and walls, and over time, lint can become lined in here, creating the potential of a fire. And so as this family was sleeping, the grandmother who was staying in this back room had to dart across the house because her 12-year-old grandson was in the back bedroom here. Just to give you an idea of what kind of wind we're talking about, 127 mile per hour winds with this EF2 tornado. And as it was hitting, it hit the bathroom. And this is where the 12-year-old was sleeping. The grandmother comes in, yells tornado, he pops up, and the whole family tried to get into the basement. And this is what was left behind. Well, hello from Toronto. You can probably hear the music pumping. They are hoping for a big party here. We are inside the Rogers Center. They are actually prepping the seats, what they're calling action seats. They get these free peanuts tonight. Either way, they're hoping something is worthwhile. Crises. And based on the information we know right now, we're talking about a soccer stadium, a nightclub, sort of concert hall situation, a fast food restaurant. And people here in this country are thinking we have all of those, these so-called soft targets. Is this the modern world in the West that we're dealing with now?
And you're exactly right. And this is what
I'm Mike Maruzar live in Heston, Kansas, where there is a massive investigation underway behind me inside Excel Industries, a sprawling plant that was the site of a rampage yesterday. 14 people injured, 3 people died, and that shooter shot and killed by the police chief, according to the governor. The 3 people who died are being remembered tonight. A vigil just began here in the town of Heston. Less than 4,000 people live here. So as you can imagine, so many people touched by this tragedy. Right outside the Royals dugout. This is where all the magic happened earlier. Such a scene of celebration. I have my running shoes on because we've been running around Toronto, bringing you all these fantastic Kansas City stories. Frank Bull joins us now. And Frank, what a game today. A much different scene than we saw yesterday.
Yeah, really much different. Just a
It really is kind of an odd scene here. We're right across from the plant. There's a neighborhood right behind the camera's view. There are kids playing with soccer balls, and parents tonight struggling to figure out exactly how to tell their kids what happened in their town tonight. Much more coverage here from Heston, but for now, live, Mike Maruzar's 41 Action News. 41 Action News anchor Cynthia Newsom is at that Walmart where we heard from some people taking shelter inside the store. And Cynthia, you're there now. It appears the shot has... Okay, so the battery died. We were waiting to go to Cynthia, but what I can tell you is that she's been collecting these images. Firefighters there at this store, and you see here they had a ladder that was extended, checking out to see if there was any potential damage up top. Firefighters here gathered outside, and then people were escorted out of the front doors after they were taking shelter inside once that storm passed. Here is what the video looked like. As I mentioned, the ladder was extended up here, and you see the firefighters going to check out the top of the store. Oftentimes, you see the damage where an air conditioner could have blown off the top of the store, potential piping or something like that.
Mike, where's your coat? If it feels like winter, you should be wearing a coat.
You know, I knew you were going to say that, and I forgot it at the hotel earlier, and we've been out all day. I'm not kidding. We left at 9 o'clock, and we've been shooting all these stories, and I regretted that decision about not bringing it until right about now, and you reminded me. So thank you, dear. I appreciate that.
You're welcome, honey. All right, I'll see you later.
Also tonight, a large grass fire in Linn County under control. It started early this afternoon near Centerville, Kansas. That's about 90 minutes or so south of Kansas City. Well, the gusty winds, the dry conditions did not help firefighters. In fact, it impacted how they fought this fire. Chief Meteorologist Gary Lezak showing us just how these strong winds impacted the fire and what we can expect overnight, Gary.
Yeah, we had 50 miles.
This night really belongs to Kansas City. I mean, Mets fans, of course, are going to be unhappy. We were unhappy last year. You remember when San Francisco celebrated that last out when they're falling down and catching the ball and they all run into the middle of the diamond. And it was a feeling that made you want to get back to tonight.
And they did it. I mean, it just really is remarkable, again, how many times this team, with their backs to the wall, found a way to dig down deep and get the job done. And it almost seemed inevitable. And you couldn't say it until it happened, but it really did. It almost seemed inevitable. We were all in the press area earlier tonight, and we were thinking, man, Harvey's pitching lights out. Is there any way that we can get a couple of hits here and there? And then you see something happen, and they take advantage. If there's a sliver in these games, they exploited it.
We have been up here monitoring all of this for more than 3 hours. We saw the rotation that really started to develop right at the end of our 6 o'clock newscast. We were here. Frank Bola just finished his sports, and that's when we looked outside as Gary was checking out the final forecast. We saw the rotation develop, and about 30 minutes later, we saw that tornado drop out of the sky, tiptoe across Lee Summit, cause some damage there to the Unity Village area right near Lee Summit.
It just developed so quickly.
In the story I mentioned, this was a new roof. Now they've got to haul it away. But just, again, amazing that as all that was flying around and this family was inside, nobody was injured and nobody died. We'll have much more on the storm's impact here in Mosby and in Orick coming up later in the broadcast. For now, live in Orick, Mike Maruzar's 41 Action News.
All right.
As the manhunt for an attacker in Brussels intensifies tonight, investigators are trying to figure out if the group acted alone or if they were part of a bigger terror cell in Belgium. Meanwhile, questions surrounding how one of the attackers went unseen. It's just incredible. I mean, I was 3 when they won the World Series last time. Unfortunately, I don't remember it. My mom told me that I was on her lap watching the game, and I've been a Royals fan my whole life. Now I get to cover this team, and not only cover the team, but cover them to win the World Series here in New York. And it's just personally, it's a special feeling, and I know a lot of people feel that at home. And this game really does bridge the gap between generations, because fathers who are just like me and maybe a little older and have a little bit of memory back from '85 are now passing that down to their 5 and 7 and 8-year-old sons. And Krista, I know you mentioned that our son, Roman, is 2 years old. He thinks the Royals make the World Series every year. So it's a fun time to be in Kansas City. It's a fun time to be a Royal. And then, of course, you made some headlines with that ball up near the head. A little bit of satisfaction, extra satisfaction, knowing that you could capture the win tonight?
Yeah, that's the most important thing, win tonight and be world champion.
Any message for the fans back home in Kansas City and that have joined you here?
That's a really good. All those fans in here, they're giving the support. I can't wait to get back to Kansas City.
All right, very good. Thank you. Congratulations. All right, so there you have it. Alcides Escobar making headlines this week, of course. When Syndergaard buzzed that ball by his head, but as he said, the true satisfaction tonight is the victory in hoisting that trophy. And what a remarkable night as we are continuing to look for your favorite players as people are pulling them in different directions, as you would imagine. And it's close quarters here. A lot of family members celebrating with the players as well. So we'll send it back to you until we can secure some more interviews, guys.
I see you.
An update to that breaking news. We continue to follow 2 firefighters died fighting this massive fire near Independence and Prospect. This is a live look as the fire continues to burn. Just moments ago, Kansas City Mayor Sly James said, quote, tonight's tragic loss is a reminder that Kansas City firefighters put their lives on the line for all of us every day. Our condolences go out to the loved ones of those who made the ultimate sacrifice today, and we pray for recovery of the injured. It is a job that is thankless in many times because you hope to never have to need them.
Right.
And unfortunately, on Monday night, when that 3-alarm blaze was raging and the people were trapped inside that apartment building there in the old northeast neighborhood of Kansas City, these firefighters came out to extinguish the fire and to save lives. And that's exactly what they did. And then the people on scene there, as 4 men were taken from the scene, we know 2 survived and these 2 did not. The other firefighters on the scene, members of this union that we just heard from, had to stay and continue their job, their duty. And what had to have been incredible circumstances for them, both personally and professionally, to know that your brothers have passed, but yet the duty that they were trying to accomplish, they had to finish in their honor. And it just really was, it was a moving week.
It really was. It's been.
I was about 1 foot away from this becoming a souvenir right into the cheek, but this is a ball that's being used for batting practice. I want to show you, this is an interesting turf here because unlike Kauffman Stadium, this is a new AstroTurf just this year, and you see these granules here. This rubber beading is actually supposed to mimic soil. We'll detail why it's so important and how it could change the concept of this game coming up in about a half an hour or so. Live from a very active Toronto and Rogers Center, we'll send it back to you in Kansas City, Justin and Krista. Hello and welcome to day 2 of the Big 12 Championship. We are here at the Kansas City Power and Light District. You probably hear some cheering. Let's bring in sports director Frank Bowl. That is because KU took care of business in their first game of the tournament so far.
Yeah.
Stress balls, if we can come back to me. They're throwing these things out in the crowd, and people have a couple of cocktails and beverages, and they're flying all over the place. Anyway, it's a lot of fun down here. We'll be back here at the Big 12 coming up at the top of the hour.
Super Tuesday. Let's take a look at what we know right now. You can see Hillary Clinton really gaining a lot of delegates here. Bernie Sanders did pick up a few states tonight. Vermont, his home state, also winning Oklahoma. And just into 41 Action News, he did pick up Colorado as well. Now, on the Republican side, no real surprise here. Trump polling well in all of these states and did secure victories in most of them tonight. Ted Cruz, however, did pick up Oklahoma and his home state of Texas, which was huge for him. He really felt like he had to get Texas to continue on in this race. Still races too close to call tonight as we take a look at the board here for the Democrats. Massachusetts and Minnesota, both were waiting on results for those.
And probably the outcome will be about 50-50.
Let me ask you this. We hear on the Democratic side, Hillary is winning all these super delegates.
Yeah.
Now, I have a 2-year-old. I know about superheroes. I'm not so familiar with super delegates. What are these? What are these?
Well, they are, they kind of give the establishment candidate the inside straight.
Good evening to all of you from Cincinnati in the shadow of the Great American Ballpark. Wow, what a last 5 minutes we have had. The storms have been coming in throughout the afternoon. Take a look at these clouds over here, becoming less ominous by the minute, but a storm cloud just knocked off our satellite signal just a few moments ago, but thankfully the blue skies are appearing. As all of that was happening, trying to get the shot back up, some guy just proposed to his girlfriend next to me. So a lot of fireworks happening here, both from Mother Nature and maybe Cupid as well. Meanwhile, the fireworks inside the stadium just a few hours away, but if you want to get inside, it's going to cost you.
Extremism.
Hello and welcome on this Friday evening. Within the past 90 minutes or so, police said that they believe that all of the attackers are now dead. This a live look from Paris tonight, where right now it is just eking past 5 o'clock in the morning. Investigators in Paris say more than 120 people are feared dead from today's violence. And take a look at this new Royals billboard that we spotted. Pretty cool, right? You see them out there? One of those, trying to snag one of those balls over the wall. It's a 3D ad that's at I-70 and Woods Chapel Road. So it shows the play, and it isn't the first creative Royals billboard as we know. Take a look at Westport Road's Salvador Perez. We remember that, the big Salvi splash.
Welcome back here to our coverage of the 2015 World Series Championship Parade and Rally. We talk about so many kids out here with their families, and I am joined now by 6-year-old Sienna. How are you? What do you think about all of this?
Well, I think it's pretty amazing to be on my TV because, I think my friends are going to see me like, what? I'm so jealous. My friends are on TV and I'm not. So, let's go Royals.
There you go. So who's your favorite player? Do you have one? Who?
Alex Gordon.
Why?
Because I like his name.
And what do you think about spending this day with your family and friends out here watching the Royals celebrate?
Yeah, that would be pretty awesome. And I am right there right now. I mean, this is my dream. I've never been here.
Good luck, Mommy.
Good luck, Mommy.
Our son, Roman.
Say good luck, Mommy.
Yeah, so that's our son, Roman. He's 2, and here he is, his big brother, our daughter, Mila. It's incredible, isn't it?
You made me cry.
Well,
that was the sweetest
look, there she
video.
is.
There's baby Mila. She's 11 weeks old today.
And
oh, my
welcome
goodness.
back.
Oh, boy.
I'm so happy you're back, and we've all been excited to have you return. And Krista and everybody, we were so glad that you're back and everybody's healthy and back into the routine. So.
That video, I can't believe that. It's great to be back, especially with all 4 of you.
And
you were already giving me a hard time today.
That's right, but he leaves the price tag on the floor.
What's funny is I was trying to take.
That's a guy. $8.99.
Wait a minute. Let me fix it. Thank you, Frank.
Yeah, you're welcome, buddy. No problem.
We got some sports coming.
All right, we got some sports coming, yes. Kansas.
You're priceless, though.
They're Louisville. We're playing Maryland. They didn't leave the price on the flowers.